Hey, so there's this movie that just came out called Everything Everywhere All at Once. Haven't seen it yet, but it's got lots of great reviews, 97, 98% on Rotten Tomatoes. I'm going to watch it, but I'm going to go see it, but I'm not holding my hopes out too much because Hollywood, I've really not been seeing some really good movies from Hollywood lately. For some reason, they want to check all the boxes and they omit a really, really good story. But that aside, when I heard this title, I was like, that's a really, really good title, a really good philosophy, especially when it comes to cancer. And as many of you know, I started my career as a radiation oncologist in training, and we saw everything. We saw the worst kinds of cancer. Obviously, in Nigeria, people tend not to report to the hospital until it's so far gone that there's not much you can do about it. And it was tragic. But even amongst the worst of the worst cases, we saw differences in response rates, in attitude towards the health, towards their treatment, and how well the patients followed up. And those who wanted to get better seemed to do better. And we saw all kinds of different things. But when it comes, my point is this: when it comes to chemotherapy and radiotherapy and surgery, those are just part of the picture. When it comes to cancer, you've got to hit it from all angles. Everything, everywhere, all at once. Because cancer cells by nature are beings, they're alive, they're living creatures. And what do living creatures want to do? They want to survive at all costs. And being intelligent living creatures, they're going to figure out how. And so we're finding out that they do all kinds of crazy things, like they collude, they collide with they collude with other cells like theirs. They use normal human cells as shields, the way terrorists do. Use human shields. They exchange information. They figure out how to evade chemotherapy. That's what I'm trying to say. They figure out how to evade radiotherapy. So just when you think you've destroyed the cells, you may have destroyed 70% of all the bad, the rogue cells. That remaining 30% have figured out many times a way to evade that treatment. So once the radiotherapy chemotherapy is over, that remaining remnants are going to start multiplying with the mutated genes to be able to evade that treatment when it comes up again. And so just using chemotherapy or even radiotherapy and just using one angle is not enough. And that's why I recommend to patients who are going through chemotherapy, make sure that your doctor is someone who understands the need for nutrition, especially the need for supplementation to help to support the immune system, because your immune system is your most important ally in this whole field, in this whole thing. If your immune system is weak, it was weak in the first place. That's why you had cancer. You've got to support it while you're getting treatment, not after, not before, but while you're getting treatment. And yes, you have to do it after and before, but you've got to have it while you're having treatment. And there are certain supplements that will help, in fact, improve the accuracy and the destructive power of the chemotherapy on the cancer cells while protecting your normal cells. So you can have your cake and eat it. I think that's a problem. Many oncologists are like, knee-jerk reaction. Don't use anything. Don't use supplements. But what we're finding out is that there are some specific supplements that you can use that significantly improve the outcomes of your treatment. So that's really important. But it's not just about supplements. It's not just about the treatment. It's also about you, the individual, your beliefs, your thoughts, your words. That's why I talk about the laws of life. We saw when we were treating cancer patients, when I was treating cancer patients, that those who had good family support did better. We found out that those who had hopes, they wanted to get back to their jobs, they wanted to get back to their life, and so they were motivated to go through the treatment. So they had a good attitudes about it. We also know those who had strong beliefs in God, whatever religion theirs was. The main religion in where I was in National Hospital, where obviously Christianity and Islam, that's in the smack dab. Abuja is smack dab in the middle of Nigeria. And so we had similar numbers of Christians and Muslims coming up. And I remember my first thing when we start treating them is to get them to believe that they can survive. And this had nothing to do with Christianity or conversion or whatever it is. I would open up a verse in Proverbs that said that the strong spirit of a man would sustain him in sickness, or a healthy, a sound heart. I think there's another verse in Proverbs that says a sound heart is the life of the flesh, or a sound heart or spirit gives life to the flesh. And I would open up those verses and I'll say, hey, has nothing to do with religion. What I want you to do is I want to help you to believe that you will come through this. And so we would support them in that way while we were giving them the radiotherapy, the chemotherapy, and everything else that they needed. Those people did well. Now, not everybody received what I was saying, but in fact, there was one, just so you know, there was one I remember a Muslim lady who did fantastically well on the treatment. Again, it was because we were able to get on the inside. You've got, when it comes to chemotherapy, when it comes to cancer, especially terminal cancer, you can't be wishy-washy about it. You can't pussyfoot around it. You've got to attack it with everything you've got. You've got to throw the proverbial kitchen sink at it. You got to attack it with your spirit. You got to attack it with your words, with your mind, and your attitude. And you got to attack it with the standard chemotherapy. You got to attack it with nutrition, especially nutrition that supports your immune system. You never forget that. You've got to support your immune system. Why am I saying this? I mean, dementia is what we're really focused on right now, and other brain conditions. But what we've seen is that those who are more prone to having dementia later in life are those who have had some kind of compromise to their brain, whether it's from depression or from PTSD or from concussion. I've had a concussion. I've had deep depression before in my life. I worked. I used to be in the military, so I've had some degree of brain affectation. You probably noticed from interacting with me that I'm not all there sometimes. But my point is this: those who have had chemotherapy or anesthesia, for that matter, or any of these strong medications, that affects and it compromises their brain long term. So long term, you may have recovered from the cancer and you've survived cancer. You have 5 years, 10 years, only to find out later on that you're going to you start having forgetfulness and symptoms of dementia, mild cognitive impairment. That's because of the strong chemotherapy. Is a very powerful drug. Of course, you need it to fight cancer, but just be aware there are side effects, collateral damage that affects your brain in the future. That's why I'm really emphasizing these things. Other than the fact that we want you to survive, you want to be able to have a good quality of life long term and not become one of the statistics where dementia is concerned. So remember, everything, everywhere, all at once. I'm not saying you should go see it. They probably should pay me for mentioning this title so many times. But the point again is attack this thing. Don't pussyfoot around it. Don't play with it. You've got to attack the cancer with everything you've got. Everything. That's it. Said my piece. Talk to you later. God bless. Bye.